Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. I have no idea what's going on. I don't think most people do. Maybe no one knows what's going on. It's all crazy, crazy, crazy. It's chaos. It's confusion. And I think most of you know what the Bible says about who causes confusion. I guess a little recap for those of you that's not kept up, and I totally would not blame you if you're not keeping up. I'm not keeping up as good as I probably should, because at this point I've almost lost interest in it. So apparently yesterday evening, the president tweeted or posted on social media, his Truth Social or whatever that's called, that there is a ceasefire agreement that's going to happen. And he laid it out, and it was quite confusing that Iran would stop bombing Israel for 12 hours, but Israel wasn't. And then 12 hours later, Israel would stop bombing. And then 12 hours after that, the war would be over. It was crazy. So anyways, right after that, number one, Iran basically responded and said, I don't know what you're talking about. There's not been any kind of ceasefire agreement. We've not received any paperwork or any documentation of a proposal or anything. Israel was pretty quiet. And what I kind of took from it is that I don't know that there was a whole lot of official documentation. I think it was just the president was doing this on social media, maybe. It's possible that he was just trying to create such a pressure by just posting stuff online that they would come to accept these terms. I don't know. I guess it's the new way of doing politics. Immediately after that, both sides seemed to just unleash a massive fury on each other. Lots and lots and lots of just bombs and missiles and strikes, all kinds of stuff. Long story short, the claim is that Iran violated the ceasefire agreement, then Israel violated the ceasefire agreement. Trump was very angry at both sides. In fact, this morning, the News Corps caught him and was asking him about it, and he lashed out at both Israel and Iran, saying he was angry with them. He dropped the F word, all kinds of stuff. For right now, it seems to be holding. I don't know that most anyone believes it's going to hold a very long time. I mean, the original objectives of what started this, from Israel attacking Iran, has not been met. I know that there are some trying to claim that it was, but, supposedly this was to stop Iranian to destroy their nuclear weapons program. And according to all the real data that we can find, that didn't happen. So, and there was no regime change. I mean, definitely some people in Iranian government was killed, but so how long will this last? I don't know. The thing is this kind of stuff it may not be between the Israelis and the Iranians, but this Middle Eastern, and I get it, Iran technically isn't Middle Eastern, but this has been going on for a long time between Jews and Muslims. This isn't something new. So it's chaotic. It's confusing. Maybe it'll last for a while. Maybe it won't. In the end, I still stick by and stand by my opinion that this is all a big orchestrated mess. Because here's the thing now. Let's just say that this does last for a while. Let's say it's more than just a pause for Israel and Iran to rearm and all that kind of stuff. Let's just say that it does kind of last for a while. What was the purpose of all of this? If it was to cause Iran to give up nuclear weapons, they claim now that they're definitely not going to do that. Trump has still said that they can't have them, but Iran says, hey, after this just proves that, we have to have some kind of deterrence. Look at countries like North Korea. People don't go in and start bombing North Korea. Why? Because they got nukes. I don't support North Korea, and I don't support Iran. I don't agree with their ideology, but there is a point there. So, how long is it going to last? Is it going to stop Iran? Iran says that they're not going to be part of the UN's atomic energy group. They kicked them out. They're not going to have anything to do with them now. So there'll be no oversight. They'll just build what they want when they want. I don't know. So at this point, it's like, what's the point? What was the point to all this? Was it a big distraction? Was it just to spend some more money? I don't know. I can't answer that question. But I can tell you this, that there definitely is many things moving in the big machine that is cranking away to take us over. Whether it be stuff in Europe, Russia, Middle East, China, the economy. I think that just the level of chaos, and I've said this so many times, it doesn't matter if it's good, bad, you agree with it, you don't. The amount of just keeping everyone and everything on the knife's edge of fear and panic and destruction, to me, that right there says enough. That right there tells me that the world that we live in is greatly unstable, and that there is obviously something going on, some type of something, right, that's happening in the background that's causing all this stuff in the foreground to be so hectic and chaotic. I'm going to assume that is some type of big new world order thing. And we definitely can see that at many times with stuff that's being done, even though we can't see it all. The big tech movement, the AI, the Palantirs of the world, they're still just chugging along fast. The hiding of the kind of the bigger things, right before all this really started happening, there was, in a way, the whole Epstein file kind of resurfaced. You had Elon Musk making some comment online about Trump being on the list. There was that whole feud between them. People started talking about it again. People started saying, hey, I thought we were supposed to get this, the truth to this. You had Dan Bongino and the other guy, talking about, Kash Patel getting on TV or on the internet and saying, hey, there's nothing there. We've watched the footage. There's nothing there. There's inappropriate behavior, but there's nothing criminal going on. And then all of a sudden this happens and it distracts us. It's been the same thing all along. We were going to get an audit of Fort Knox. Well, that's probably never going to happen at this point. It's just one thing after another that keeps the pot stirred. And even though you can look at what's happening right now and say, well, in the end, Trump was able to pull through and get his ceasefire. For right now, that is true. And I would hope that it does hold. I'm an anti-war kind of guy. I'm fine if it's pushed upon me, I will come out fighting like a wild animal, but there's no desire for that. There's no desire for that. Because the more we get into a war, the more that it's a drain on us, and we need to stay at it. And if the two of them want to blow each other to kingdom come, let them do it. That's my opinion. If you're going to start a war, have at it. Just keep us out of it is what I think. But looking at all of this kind of stuff happening, I think it's pretty clear that there's massive just instability and massive chaos that's happening. And that is always a major indicator that stuff is happening, stuff is going on. And, I've actually tried in the last few days to try to dig through all of this noise of Iran and Israel, or even Russia, or, other things like that, to try to figure out, okay, is there other stuff that's going on that we're missing? And I can't really find it. And I don't believe that it all just went away. I don't believe, that they're building the largest construction project in American history down in Texas to be this big AI central hub that's going to control us all, and there's no news to be talked about. I can't believe that you have all this advancement in technology, and you've got development of this central database list for Americans by Palantir, and the push for centralized identification and cryptocurrencies and things like that, more of a digital currency base, and then it all just goes away. It doesn't, but you're just not hearing about that kind of stuff. So things are happening, definitely. If this holds true, that's great. I don't think it'll hold for very long, but I could be wrong. But it's been a good show, right? It's been a good show. Trump apparently is going today to meet with NATO and talk with Zelensky. Who knows what happens there? Through all of this, Russia has made comments that all of Ukraine should be theirs. Is this what's happened down there? Was there some kind of deal made? Hey, we'll keep Iran and get them to quiet down if you walk away from Ukraine and let us have it. I don't know. There's so much going on. It's impossible to keep up with it, and it's certainly impossible to know what's really happening because they hide so much from us. And then there's also the fact that I think a lot of times they don't even know what's going on. I'm not one to believe that the people that are running the show have complete total control and they know everything that's happening. I think a lot of times they're just shooting from the hip and hoping that they get it right. You and I are kind of the innocent bystanders that become the innocent victims to all of this chaos. And we have to recognize that the chaos alone is a major signal that we should be preparing ourselves, continually getting ready, whether it's economic, whether it's war, whether it's something else that's just this black swan event that just happens that we miss, that no one's paying attention to. The sun shoots out a X-40 class flare or something like that. We need to be ready, and you need to constantly be preparing yourselves. You may not need to be obsessing over it, but you definitely need to make it a priority in your life. And I would strongly suggest you to put effort into the people around you. A lot of times preppers get this very much lone wolf mentality. I got to get myself ready. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you need to have conversations with the people around you, your neighbors, people that are loved ones, people that you can depend on. And do your best to get them to pick up the pace and to also have conversations with them. Well, what would we do if there was some kind of attack? Look at what just happened with Iran and Israel. And, what would have happened if there had been some major terrorist attack because of that? Let's say it took out cell phones or it caused the grid to go down for a while. What do you think we would do? You can have conversations. When things like this happen, it makes it easier to have these conversations because it's harder for the people to say, oh, that'll never happen, because it, by all appearances, it kind of got close for a while. And we need to have these conversations and make these plans, because the kind of stuff that's going on and the kind of stuff that's most likely going to be happening, you're going to need others. You're going to need to have a plan with the people around you so that you can pull together and survive. Whether it's producing food together, helping take care of each other, defending each other, just keeping the social structure kind of going in your area. So don't just get this tunnel vision that you're only focused on, what you need to do to get ready. You need to be focusing also and pay attention to the people around you. Because the more people around you that you help prepare, the less people around you that could be a threat when it all starts really falling apart. And at some point, it will. I think the question is just when. So anyways, we've got a potential ceasefire for a while. We'll see how that works. I don't know. It's nuts. It's crazy. I don't think most people even know what's going on. So we'll move on with our day, and we'll see what the next crazy thing will happen. I do want to mention that our big meeting is this weekend. I think we've got a pretty good meeting planned. We're going to be doing a lot of herbal medicine stuff. We're actually going to go on a plant walk at the meeting. We'll have some different plants that's been harvested already, so that are edible or medicinal, that you can look at. We will also have someone else there doing some natural healing type of talking and stuff. So it's very much a natural, medicinal, herbal healing type of meeting this time. So definitely come out if you can. It's this Sunday at 2 p.m. If you need information about it, shoot me an email and I'll get back with you. All right, folks, it's time to get your houses in order and prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.